Good morning, it's Pause with Elizabeth Eleanor, and today we're going to be talking about celebrating your wins, because most of the time we don't connect in with all the wonderful things that we do on a daily basis, and they just slip past. And we're always in this to-do list thing. We're always looking at what we want to do, but we never actually take a moment to pause, reflect, and step into that part of us that actually creates momentum and creates wins on a daily basis, right? So how are you? Let me just get myself sorted. How are you today? I'd love for you to say hi in the chat and where you're watching from. Let me just get this all sorted. So let's talk about what wins are in the first place. It's actually just acknowledging our progress, right? We can be working towards something on a daily, day-to-day basis, and we're just normally connected to what we haven't done because of the way our brain works. Then more towards that than if we are connecting with the things that we have done. I want you to throw in the chat, are you someone that gets to the end of the day and goes, holy crap, what happened? How did I get to the end? What did I actually do? You know, we actually get into this place of not even recognizing the things that we've actually achieved through the day. So regularly recognizing the little small wins as well as the significant achievements that we've had builds more confidence. It builds self-esteem. It's strengthening your relationship with yourself, right? So it's strengthening your connection with your higher self, because now you're more focused and orientated towards your achievements rather than the things that you haven't done, you know, like the failure pattern that we tend to go into on a regular basis is, oh, I didn't do that right, or I didn't create that, or I missed the mark, or I made excuses, or whatever it is. And so this slow little mind just continuously puts us down for things that we haven't done rather than building ourselves up. Who has noticed that? Have you noticed that you're more likely to think about the things that you could have done, or you should have done better, or you missed the mark on, or you made excuses about? All of those things we tend to put ourselves down for, instead of going, wait a minute, I did this, I did this, I did this, right? One of the things that I'm doing to really change this for myself is I'm celebrating all of these little moments. And it seems like insignificant things, but as they add up, these are a couple of the things that I'm noticing. So one of the things, for example, getting up at the time I said I was going to get up and making the bed, right? So Tim and I are now going, yes, this is something that we've done, and we're saying yes, and we're high-fiving. Every time we do something, we're positively reinforcing it in our body, in our mind, in our relationship, right? Because it strengthens the connection. Acknowledging these little tiny wins, it actually is supporting us to have more connection, trust, bonding more, all of those things, because we've got this common mutual goal that we're moving towards, right? Hey Linda, hey Cassandra. Lovely to have you here, Linda. I haven't seen you for a while. Linda's an old school friend of mine. So all of these little incremental movements, right? Every time I'm doing this thing of getting into a pattern of the way I'm posting on social media, the way, because I've got this impact that I want to create, right? I know that the things that have changed my life, the amazing results that I've had, all of these things have happened to me because of my focus. And so it's my mission, my responsibility to support more women to see that this is not something that only happens to the select few. It happens to you if you want it and if you choose it. But the thing is that there's these little tiny adjustments that need to happen in our lives to actually get these results in the first place, right? So Julie's put here, I can notice and acknowledge the little things I've done, but they seem so small and have taken so long, minutes, hours of the day to achieve. So these are the things, right? Is going, okay, first of all, don't beat yourself up, because that's what our tendency is. Our tendency is to go into the negative, not because of any other reason, but our unconscious is designed that way. We don't have to beat ourselves up. It's actually the design of our unconscious and our mind to look for the things that aren't appropriate. You know, the mind is looking constantly for things to fix in the body, right? So it's also doing the same in the unconscious. The unconscious has been wired to make it easy and comfortable and survivable for us. So, you know, that whole thing of the ego and putting the ego down, get rid of all of that and just go, okay, it's doing its job, but now, as a way of counter-measuring that, let's celebrate the achievements. So that means those small wins. Okay, so I've had the small wins. It might have taken me longer than I thought, but I've now had those small wins. And so is that positive reinforcement. One of the things that I have noticed for myself as I've been doing this, I said to Tim the other day, one of the things that's really changed is that every time I'm celebrating a win, it means that there's not enough room for the negative to be acknowledged in my head. So I've got more focus on the celebration of the win than giving the attention to the things that I didn't do, right? So Julie, in that situation, for example, where you're noticing the small wins, but it's taking longer, it's the opportunity to sort of reflect and go, okay, so why is it taking longer than I expected? Did I have an over zealous expectation of myself? Or, so you know, park that. Or is it that I'm getting distracted by things that my mind wants to cause me to be unfocused? So if that's the case, because I've gone through this too, right? If that's the case, one of the things that I've started doing, or I was doing and I've trained myself, I don't do it anymore, is I put a timer on. Just a timer on my phone to go, okay, now I'm timing myself. So it's sort of like a, you know, a race for myself, my own personal race, right? And in that, because I did that, I noticed, for example, there's a particular thing that I do in my business that I have to go through Facebook to do. And I noticed that sometimes it was taking me 10 minutes when it should have only taken me a couple of minutes. And because I put the timer on, I realized that I'd be stopping and getting distracted by reels or something else. And next thing I'd have to catch myself, I'm unconsciously doing something again, right? And because I put the timer on, it gave me that opportunity to be more aware, and so now I catch myself a lot faster. So these are the things that will, you know, it's boosting your own self-esteem and using these little games to move the needle in some way against your own, you know, to compete in a way against your own consciousness or your own unconsciousness, right? I just find that sometimes these little things, if they work, they work. Whether they sound ridiculous or not, they're making a difference in my reality. And so that's the main thing for me, right? So it's acknowledging these little opportunities. How is this working for me? What can I do to refine this so that I'm creating a celebration and positive reinforcement in my life, rather than looking at what is not being created, which is what we are naturally drawn to do. It's not just one of us, it's all of us. So don't beat yourself up if you're stressing over something, or you're putting yourself down, or you're feeling like you are insignificant, or that you don't belong, or all of those things, because that is the natural tendency of all of us to go there, right? One of the things that my natural tendency has been is to feel like I'm incapable. It's just part of my makeup from my childhood of feeling like I don't belong and I'm incapable of achieving whatever it might be, right? And so I'm aware of it. I've done recoding through it. So now is very subtle. Before, it would cause me to go into overwhelm. I would feel I wouldn't do things because I would fear rejection. There's a whole heap of, you know, that whole pattern that challenges the whole personality when you get caught in your patterns of behavior. But now that I've done recoding, you know, one, I got a lot of results very quickly because of that. But two, that doesn't mean it doesn't come up, because I'm human. We're all human. We've still got the unconscious that's got this programming. But as I speak to my clients, it's more like, you know, instead of this big wave that used to take over my whole body and I would go into these sabotage patterns, now it's more like a swell, right? So just this gentle swell of the ocean, right? I'm like, there it is again, right? I see that and I'm not going to engage in it. So I had it yesterday. I did a Facebook Live on my personal page yesterday, and I hate doing Facebook Lives on my personal page. I don't know what the difference is, but for some reason it annoys me, and I months ago I would go days and days with not posting because I know that I'm supposed to be doing a Facebook Live, or I want to do a Facebook Live, and I haven't done it yet. And so I would go days and days of procrastinating around it. But now I have this awareness that, there I go again. I see the energy coming. I can feel it in my body. And so I just got up and I just did it. In the imperfect action, I just put it together, didn't know what I was going to talk about, and I just got on. And it still got engagement. You know, I didn't die, all of the things, right? So these are the things about moving into celebrating your wins, like we are 5 years old, right? This Facebook group, now, it did start as Women of Light. However, we've always been about consciousness, right? And so this Facebook group, and now is Awakening Magical Women, Choosing Conscious Relationships. This group has been around for 5 years. And so this gives me the opportunity to, one, celebrate that we're still here, celebrate that we're actually engaged and that there's people that want to, you know, watch our content, and we're adding value and we're supporting women to really focus on what they want, because I know that there are many. I started this group through a business training, and I can go back into many of those Facebook groups that were started at the same time, and some of them, you know, don't even exist anymore, let alone get engagement. And so I know that that's a massive win for us because we did things differently. We also focused on serving and adding value rather than taking and lack energy. And we also celebrated our wins. So every year on our anniversary, we have always celebrated that this is our anniversary, right? So I'm just listening here. I notice that when I celebrate my small wins, it becomes my inner voice. It starts to occupy the space that the old inner voice used to occupy. Absolutely. They became like these tiny pebbles and stones that pile up and become my defensive wall, defending me from my old sabotage beliefs. I love that analogy, Irene. I think you've been hanging around me for too long, which is an awesome thing, right? And so that is a beautiful analogy, right? They're these little tiny pebbles and stones that pile up and become this defensive wall or this protective wall, right? Or this barrier against the old sabotage beliefs. Because, ladies, if we're going to move into the space of creating our reality and becoming more, expanding our consciousness, elevating our frequency, all of the things that we know that we're here to and desire, then that means every single day making a difference in our world, right? Every single day creating and enhancing our ability to communicate better. So when you do internal communication of celebrating your wins, this is how you start improving your communication with others around you in your relationships. You start being able to focus on the positive things that are in relationships, right? Better than not seeing progress at all. Absolutely, Irene. And so moving into these little daily habits of recognizing what it is that you want to create, what sort of relationship you want to be in with each person. What sort of relationship do you want to be in with your partner if you have one? What sort of relationship do you want to be in with your future partner if you haven't got one? What sort of relationship do you want to be in with your children if you have them? What sort of relationship do you want to be in with your friends, with your colleagues, with the people that are in your life, with the person down the street at the shop? What sort of relationship do you truly want to create and foster in your life? Because when you are celebrating your wins, right, one of the things that happens is you start getting, creating a greater emotional intelligence, right? You can deal with conflict and have more empathy for people when you are in that place of positive reinforcement of yourself. Because ultimately, the relationship you're having with others is ultimately the relationship you're having with yourself, right? All of these things that happen when you start celebrating your wins, you increase your well-being, right? Because now you're focused on positive things and building more emotional well-being, right? Those things then reduce stress because now you are focused on more uplifting, enlightened energy rather than the energy of toxicity and lower vibrations, right? Where it's drags you down and you find it very hard and challenging to be around those type of people, right? Just for a moment, take a moment to recognize what it's like when you're around people that are negative. But let's just take a moment to see this. What does it feel like when you are around people that have that low vibrational negative energy, very pessimistic, very dysfunctional with their emotions, all of like depressed, anxious, all of those things, right? Now, one, yes, we want to feel for them and have empathy, but also just reflect for a moment. It's not the best place to be, right? As someone that's standing with them having a conversation, it brings you down. It brings you into a place where you start feeling those vibes too, unless you are really attuned to this. Because when you can really connect in with yourself and reinforce this, and you're, you know, when people like that are in my field, for example, I tend to find that they gravitate to me. So there's more, you know, because of where I've been for such a long time, there's more long-term stability, right, with my vibration. And so I tend to help them raise up. Now, if I'm around them for too long, and I've got to tell you, I've been there. I was living with my mum, who was really not in the best place. She, you know, had not done, or still hasn't done, the personal growth and spiritual growth that I have in my life. And, you know, she just naturally, like, she's a hermit. She would stay at home and watch soap operas and, you know, TV series, and basically the whole drama and trauma of those things were infiltrating her very being. And so to actually live in her house was very challenging at times, and I needed to step out and revigorate myself, move out of that vibration so that I could reconnect with my own personal space and bring my energy back up. Now, I was making a choice. I was choosing to support my mum in a time of need, being the only daughter, the only one that had her own business, so I was the only one that was able and available. And I took that on and I made that choice, so I knew that this was a consequence of that. So that's another thing about celebrating your wins, is making those choices and sticking with them, right? I definitely supported her to be more positive, and we really grew a beautiful relationship that we still got, that wasn't always there, right? I didn't have the easiest childhood. And through really sitting in that vibration and frequency of positivity, I was able to support her, become more empathetic towards her for the, you know, choices she'd made without the consciousness, right? So instead of, you know, being defensive and putting her down, being able to see that, you know, she did what she did with what she had, and that's all that she could manage, right? And so having empathy for others, for where they're at, is also a way of, you know, when you're celebrating yourself, moving into positivity, you're not only creating personal growth, but this long-term stability and a higher life satisfaction, right? So that means that when you have got people that have got a lower vibration, maybe in the negative, you know, depressed, all of those things, then it doesn't affect you as much, and you can then support them because you've got this stability already, right? So all of these things are opportunities to showcase and move into celebrating your wins. And so this month, as with every September, from the beginning of when we first started this this group, we celebrate for the whole of September. One, it's my birthday, right? So my birthday is the 7th of September. It's coming up very shortly. I'm going to be in Orange doing, which is a regional conference for women with altitude. So anyone that's living in Orange, if you want to come to an event, and I'm going to be talking at an event with a lot of other beautiful women entrepreneurs sharing wisdom and all those things. And where was I going with that? So I'm going to be orange. Oh, that's right. We're celebrating. So it's my birthday, but we're also celebrating for the whole month here in this group. So a couple of things. One of them, you may have seen that we are doing a meditation bingo. Because one of the things that I have noticed is that, you know, at the end of the month, we've got Child of the New Moon, where we're going to be really focusing on increasing our intuition. And so part of that process is really starting to connect in with your higher self and your intuition. And that means quietening your mind. So we're going to be doing meditation bingo this month. We're also celebrating spring, so all of the beautiful flowers. So if you see some flowers on the side of the road or in your garden, definitely come in here and post them in here. You win points for doing that, and we're going to have some great prizes throughout the month, including a recode with me, a 1-hour session, which includes an intuitive read, some strategy, and clearing all of the patterns that are getting in the way from you really achieving what it is that you want to create and be here on this planet for. There's a whole heap of stuff. We've got our monthly mixer as well. So there's a whole heap of stuff that's going on. And part of this celebrating your wins, for today, I want to support anyone that just feels that there's something holding them back from being able to even get to this point of looking and focusing on their positive mini wins as well as the more significant ones. So if that's you, if you're challenged with really stepping into that positive energy inside your head, and there's too much going on in the unconscious where you're going into beating yourself up for whatever reason, then reach out, put in the comments solution, and for the first maybe 3 or 4 people, I haven't got a lot of time because I'm traveling on Thursday. If you put in solution, I will give you a call, and we'll do a free call, just a 20-minute call, so that we can look at what's actually going on, and I can support you in a personal way rather than just doing it on Facebook Live, where we can look at what's actually happening for you, and we can give you something, just a little thing, to move the needle and to support you to grow in the way that you are here and designed to do, right? We're here to awaken. We're here to have conscious relationships. We're here to be magical women, ladies. So that's me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Watch out and do some fun things in here. We've got heaps of stuff going on, and I will catch you next Tuesday.